In Language Today, your learning objective is to identify and use a subordinate clause in a sentence. So let's find out what this term clause means. And no, it's not the type of clause that you would see on a big furry animal. It's a clause within a sentence. Okay, so let's find out. A clause is part of a sentence that contains a verb. It usually consists of a subject and a verb. Okay, so here we have an example. So this here is a clause. Rashid read a book. Within this sentence, there's a subject, Rashid. He's a proper noun, a person. Okay, there is a verb, to read. It's an action and a doing word. And the object is the book. So Rashid is doing something to the book. He is reading it. Okay, so this makes sense by itself. It's a full sentence. Now, a subordinating clause can be added onto a main clause to give meaning to the main clause or add extra information. So, if I had this sentence here, Rashid read a book, and I wanted to add some extra information, I could use a subordinating conjunction to say why. He read a book because he enjoyed learning. Full stop. So I've added some more detail to that sentence. Okay. So a subordinating clause, I'm just going to highlight here in red, because he enjoyed learning. Now that part of the sentence cannot make sense by itself. It needs to attach itself to the main clause to make sense. So a good way to think about it is to remember an adult chicken and a baby chick. So the baby chick needs the adult chicken in order to survive and to live. Okay, so this part of the sentence, Rashid read a book, is the main clause. It makes sense by itself, okay? And this part here, because he enjoyed learning, it just gives meaning to the main clause. It doesn't make sense by itself. So you're going to be identifying some main clauses and subordinating clauses in sentences today, and then writing your own. So let's look into this in more detail. So a clause is a group of words that could be a sentence. It usually has a subject, it's like Rashid, and a verb, read. Okay, so it has those two things in it and to be a clause. Here we have two sentences. He did not hunt and it was raining. Okay, these two sentences can join together to make one sentence, and they can do this using a conjunction. That's when these two sentences won't be two sentences anymore. They'll join together to make one full sentence, and then we will have two clauses. Okay, so let's look at how this can be done. So when the two sentences are joined with a conjunction, they become one longer sentence. He did not hunt because it was raining. So here we have he did not hunt becomes a clause, and it was raining is a clause. Okay, and they're joined together by because, a subordinating conjunction. So, in a sentence, you always have a main clause, which gives the main point of the sentence. He did not hunt is the main point of the sentence. Okay, and the subordinating clause, because it was raining, provides extra information. Okay, so that just tells us the reason why he did not hunt. So, the subordinating information can come at the start of a sentence. It doesn't always come after the main clause. Okay? If a sentence starts with a subordinating conjunction, it is starting with a subordinate clause. So if we look here, as is a subordinating conjunction. As the sun was setting, the tiger stalked her prey. Okay, we know that this is the subordinating clause, because it starts with as, which is the conjunction, and as the sun was setting doesn't make sense by itself. We need something more in that sentence for it to make sense. If we look at the main clause, the tiger stalked her prey. That part of the sentence makes sense by itself. Okay, it's the main point. The tiger stalked her prey is the main information. Okay. So, a subordinating clause can also be embedded within the middle of within a main clause. Okay, so the extra information is added in the middle of the main clause. So if we look here, the tiger stalked her prey. That's the main clause. In this sentence, the subordinating clause has been put in the middle of the main clause to add extra information. So the tiger, who was ravenous, stalked her prey. And the word ravenous just means hungry. And the subordinating clause is put into the middle of the main clause using the commas, okay, to separate it. We've looked at this a little bit before, the adding extra information with brackets and commas and dashes, so you should be aware of this. Your task now, watch this video again if you're not really sure what this means, and I will attach another link for you to watch as well. Okay, but if you're feeling like you've understood, then what I would like you to do now is take these sentences here. Okay, so these are all simple sentences. The dog barked, the girl was upset, the boy watched TV, I like pizza. Okay, and you need to include attach a subordinating clause onto this sentence to extend it and add more information. And you can do this by using one of these subordinating conjunctions. If, since, as, when, although, while, after, before, because, until. Okay, so if I took this sentence here, the dog barked, and for example, I would add some extra information to that sentence until 3 o'clock in the morning. So this part of the sentence, until 3 o'clock in the morning, has now become the subordinating conjunction, okay, because until 3 o'clock in the morning doesn't make sense by itself, and it's attached itself onto the dog barked. So the dog barked is the chicken, that makes sense by itself. Until 3 o'clock in the morning is the baby chick. It's just attaching itself to add in extra information. So can you now see if you can write your own sentences here that attach on a subordinating conjunction using one of these from the list, okay? Once you've done that, upload it to Seesaw. Your next task after that is you can either copy these sentences down, okay, and in these sentences here, you can highlight or colour in, or you can write them in your book, the main clause in the sentence. So while looking through the window, Sophie saw the BFG. So what part of that sentence makes sense by itself? Is it while looking through the window, or is it Sophie saw the BFG? What part of the sentence has a subject and a verb in it? Okay, and then in these sentences here, you would need to underline the subordinating clause. So that baby chick of the sentence, the part that doesn't make sense by itself. When he had finished washing the dishes, Lee sat down. So which part of that sentence doesn't make sense by itself? Is it when he had finished washing the dishes, or is it Lee sat down? What part of that sentence would not make sense by itself? Once you have done that, you can choose a task, okay? So the first task, it's like mild, hot and spicy. The mild group, you can complete this activity sheet that is in the Seesaw activities. If you want to challenge yourself and go for the spicy activity, then you can create some of your own sentences using subordinated clauses from this list. Okay, if you want to extend yourself even further, you can create your own sentences. But make sure you look at these first, okay? Watch the video again if you're not sure what it means. Good luck, and I'm excited to listen and see some of the creative sentences you have written.